It's really great to be with all of you today. I'm thrilled about the array of communities that we have entered into a 3-year partnership with. When we defined what we meant by community innovation in the context of the grant competition, we really thought about it in terms of scale and impact. So, and this was in our pre-pandemic world. And in that pre-pandemic world, none of us at PCI could say, and I know none of us on this call could really say we were satisfied with what our communities were doing to make sure that every family has access to high quality services. And I think, as all of you know by now, all of us that are part of this movement for infants and toddlers, we're not in this to nibble around the margins. We're really in it to lay the groundwork for massive change. And so in the grant process, we really looked for those communities that we think are there with us. So we were looking for those communities that could say, yes, we can chart a course to make sure that at least half of our infants, toddlers, and expecting families get high quality services. And yes, we think that within 3 years, we could expand our systems so that another 25% are getting at least one thing that evidence shows us will make it more likely that and then March came, and I don't need to tell anyone on this call what the pandemic and the economic fallout and this national reckoning that we're in of centuries of racial injustice, how that's changed how we're working. I've long had this sign near my desk that says, "No plan survives a collision with reality." This has been a pretty big collision. But yet, as we've talked with all of you over the past couple of weeks and months, the message we've gotten from each of you has been the same, that this triple threat pandemic has really revealed what you've always known about who's farthest away from basic support and who's farthest away from opportunity. And all of you have told us that your work is more important than ever, that your strategies are solid. Getting to those aspirational numbers is going to be harder than you planned, but you know it has to be done, and you've told us you're up for the challenge. So I wanted to oops, have I gone too far? I have. Just to show you who's, I know a lot of people have been asking, who else is getting a grant? Who else is getting a grant? It's really our policy not to make public until grant agreements are signed. Right now we've got 8 communities that have signed, and we've got 2 more that we're in negotiation with. So this is our list, and I'm hopeful that we'll have 2 more to add the next time we talk. I also wanted to just share with you all the list of states that we're working with. Most of them have just started a 3-year grant in 2020. We're also working to bring Washington State onto this list. Each of these states has a really ambitious prenatal to 3 plan. We have been challenging, goading, encouraging, incentivizing, asking to make sure that on those state coalitions that you're part of those state policy tables. So if you're not yet, that's definitely something we'd like to talk with you guys about. So I just wanted to take a minute to just tell you kind of who's who on the Pritzker Children's Initiative team. You guys met Brenda at the top of the webinar. I can't say enough about the team we have at PCI. Collectively, the 4 of us have 100, 150 years together of experience somewhere in the early childhood or maternal child health systems. We've worked at the state level, we've worked at the local level, we've worked in government, we've worked as advocates, we've run programs. We're all relatively new to philanthropy, and so I think that you'll really see that our approach to grant making and to working with our grantees is pretty hands-on. As a team, we're working towards this big goal of around equitable access to high-quality prenatal to 3 services. We're continually iterating our investment strategies to get us there. But the biggest thing I want to make sure you know is that each of us are 100% committed to your success. And you'll probably hear all of us say this. If you're not successful, we're not successful. Everyone on the support system who's on this call today plays a different role in that success, and we consider ourselves partners. We work in lockstep with our partners at Build, with Child Trends, and I'm going to show you some others as well. Each of us works really regularly with the hub lead that you're assigned to, and the extent that we can, we've also tried to make it so states and communities have the same leads. If they don't have the same leads, we're all talking to each other. We really are trying to make sure that we're helping to support states and communities to work together towards common goals. Another thing you'll hear a lot from us at PCI, communicate with us early and often. Give us a heads up when something isn't working, when you need to pivot on a strategy. Your PCI liaison will be setting up regular calls with you, and we're really committed to building a trusting and productive relationship with you over the next 3 years, my bad. I wanted to really quickly just talk about some of the more formal reporting requirements that are built into your grants. In addition to regular check-in calls with your PCI liaison, which may be with your hub lead, may be separate. We're all kind of working that out. We'd like to do a site visit with you once a year. My guess is that the first one's going to be virtual. I can't tell you how much we all cannot wait to be with you guys in person. But we'd really like to get to see your whole coalition, to hear what you have to share, to learn from you. And so we'll be asking about getting those set up. We've got 2 annual written reports. Just because of when we made the grants, you guys are on 2 schedules. So most of you are on a January-July reporting schedule. A few of you are on a March-September reporting schedule. In that first report, we're going to ask you for your baseline data for those impact plans. You've had so much fun working with me to craft. And I know some of you have already got some pretty good baseline information. Another thing you'll hear a lot from all of us is around the disaggregation of data. And this, again, is something I know that that all of you on the call share this commitment to making sure that that we are looking at the equity of access and outcomes all along the way, and that data is really at a crucial starting point. So we know you're not going to have disaggregated data for every strategy right away, but we will always be asking the question, okay, you don't have it now, what's the plan to get it? And if you do have it, what are you doing with it? You'll hear more about this from Child Trends. You're not alone in this. States are also being challenged to provide as much disaggregated data as possible, and Child Trends is your key partner in this work. And then after that initial baseline is established, as you guys know, we're going to be asking for data at 3 different points in the next 3 years. And then the last couple of things I just wanted to talk to you guys about, which some of you have heard this a bazillion times and some of you maybe not at all, but I wanted to make sure that everyone has a good understanding of our overall strategy at the Pritzker Children's Initiative and how you fit into it. We're actually planning to redraw this logic model to put states and communities at the center of everything. This is where we're making our largest investments, and this is really the focus of our strategy. We've got movement building partners that are focused on supporting your success. We've got scaling and innovation partners. Our measurement strategy is ultimately going to help you measure your impact on child development. And so, as you kind of go through this partnership with us, how you think about your relationship to some of these other aspects of our strategy, something we'd love to explore with you. So I did, oops, I went too far. I did want to, this is a list of almost all of our grantees at the national level. For our national partners, their first and foremost priority is to support our state and local grantees. They're all about building this national drumbeat focused on prenatal to 3 to create really a surround sound of the same issues that you're working If you see an immediate opportunity with any of these partners, talk to your hub lead or talk to your PCI liaison, and we'll talk together about what might be possible in the short or long term. Let us know where you'd like to see us build a partnership in some way with a new organization or to fill a gap in some way. This is the kind of information we need to hear. And the other thing I just wanted to make sure that you know about is a little bit more about our movement building strategy and our emphasis on building out the National Collaborative for Infants and Toddlers, or NCIT. We all go back and forth how we pronounce it. That's our umbrella for all of the work that we're doing around prenatal to 3. So it's not just our grantees, but also your coalition members, other states, communities, organizations focused on infants and toddlers and their families. We're still working out some of the details about how everyone signs up and really joins the National Collaborative and the benefits of that. But basically, everyone's invited to be part of it. Everybody is thought of as a partner in the National Collaborative, including all of your coalition members. So I didn't want to let this opportunity pass to put in a little commercial for, oops, sorry. I told you, Tierney, that I would do something to mess this up. I just wanted to put in a little plug for an upcoming event that our partners at the University of Texas at Austin are holding on September 15th. They have built out a roadmap, a state policy roadmap that they will be unveiling. It's going to be a fantastic event. We've got incredible national speakers. And almost 4,000 people have already registered. So we encourage you to join. Yeah, so last but not least, just thank you. Thank you all for what you're doing. Please consider us at PCI your full partners in your local endeavors. Don't leave us on the sidelines. The things that we learn from you, we share with others. What we learn from you helps inform our overall strategy and what we do next. So stay in touch. Let us know what we can do to be good partners. Let's go get them. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Tierney. Or Tierney, can you wrest control for me?
I can. I have it, I believe. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if I'm, what are you all seeing? Kathy, can you tell me what you're seeing? Do you see the capacity building slide? Perfect. It worked. All right. So I'm gonna now, before I start, is there any questions for Kathy? Any questions?
They're all so tired of me, Tierney.
Okay, well, moving right along. What I put up is the NCIT Capacity Building Hub. That's our official formal way that we describe ourselves, but I'm going to give you all of it in layman's terms. So the Build Initiative is like you. We are also a grantee of the Pritzker Children Initiative. And if you recall Kathy's slide, we were listed there as capacity support, capacity builders. The Build Initiative, we power the hub. And what that means is PCI asked us to work with each of their grantees in order to give them, to partner with them along the 3-year journey. So as I mentioned earlier, when I stated that we have been providing that capacity supports to states over the past 1.5 years, now we're going to do the same for you. And what that means is you will get a hub lead, and I'm quite sure that many of you have already been introduced to your hub lead, but that means you'll get a hub lead for each of you. And Kathy mentioned that we tried to give where we could to give the same hub lead for state and community, because we know that would be the most ideal situation. But we weren't able to do that. But rest assured that the community and state hub leads are speaking. And what I have up now are the hub assignments. Number one, I just want to definitely point out that where there, I want you to both know the state hub lead and your community hub lead. And I say that because one of the things that the hub will do is to certainly help foster community and state collaborations and communication, and that could start at no better place than with us as the hub leads. I definitely want you to know that we are certainly intentional, and that even if you don't have the same hub lead, they are talking. And if I put up these names too, just in case if you get an email from a state hub lead, you'll know why that happened. And I have two little asterisks by Bridgeport and Alachua County. And I do because you are the only two communities that don't have a funded state. And trust me, we've taken that into account as well. So even though Florida isn't a funded state and Connecticut isn't a funded state, we'll still try to certainly help you make those connections. If you haven't already, I'm quite sure you probably have, but we'll certainly still do our due diligence to make sure we're helping you to make those state connections as well. Any questions there? Okay. You all I'm quite sure, have been introduced to your hub lead, and you probably already had more than one conversation. But I just want to back up a bit and let you know their role, so that you can make the most of them and you can make the most of the hub support, the supports that the hub provide. So the one way that our hub leads can show up for you is to be your coordinator. So everything that you've listed in that plan that Kathy is asking you to report on every 6 months, the hub leads will be there to actually help you coordinate any type of support you need to fulfill your deliverables within that plan. So your hub lead may sometimes show up as the capacity coordinator. And what that means is it may not, your hub lead also may sometimes show up as the capacity expert. They may come already with loads of knowledge on home visiting or loads of knowledge on financing, be that as it may, but we also know that one person cannot know everything. So they will be there to help identify other areas that they aren't able to help you with, so that, again, we can ensure that we can find the support that you need. And then that brings us into the last way that they would show up, as a connector. So they would be there to, if you find something on your plan and you're like, I really need support in this, they will certainly dive into our hub arsenal of support to actually get you connected to that subject matter expert. So the hub support is not mandatory. I must say that, but we do hope you take advantage of it. I don't think I need to sell it to you, but just in case some of you are still wondering if you should take advantage of the support, I just wanted to make sure I highlight the benefits of working with your hub lead. First and foremost, you get one person to focus on you and your community, and your community coalition. That's one thing I definitely should say, is that hub support isn't just for the grantee. It is for your entire coalition. So we want to be able to make sure we're supporting your entire coalition's needs as it relates to your prenatal to 3 policy agenda. So you get 15 days, so that's approximately 120 hours per calendar year of individualized support with that hub lead. And then we also will make sure that we're meeting with you as hub leads at least once a month. And again, not just with one person, but with your entire team where it's appropriate. But that one person can certainly reach out to your hub lead if you need to. And then when we can travel again, we will be doing on-site, at least once a year, on-site, actually coming to you all. And doing some on-site support with you all. And it will be different. I know Kathy mentioned earlier that they would be also doing site visits. So ours is a little different. Our site visits would be really to get in there and identify in person some of the supports that you need and that we can make sure that we can provide. So just one-on-one, more of the same type of support and consultation that we can give you. And then your hub leads will, last but not least, they'll work with you to actually develop a TA plan. And why this is so important, because you know, the TA plan really does reflect your identified goals. So we're going to, with each of your identified goals, say, all right, tell me where you need the support. Tell me what you need to make this happen. So that you can, number one, we can have a checks and balances, a balance system here. So number one, you can rest assured that you've made your request known, but then also that you can see how we're going to try to help meet it. So I will pause there. Are there any questions around support of your hub lead or anything there? And we will, I know we're recording, so some of you may not want to answer your question now. So we will pause the recording at the end, but did want to pause to see if you had questions. Okay, so I just spoke about the individualized support. So I also want to talk about the group support that you'll get. Because this isn't just about the individualized support, but it's also about bringing you all as communities together. We want to bring you together across communities. We actually want to bring you together across the states. And then we want to make sure that you all are operating as efficiently as your own unit as well. So with that, we're building out the NCIT Exchange. It's coming soon. And what that is an online platform where you all will be able to do what I just said. Interact with each other, interact across states, and actually as well, if you wanted to have your own personal community with only your actual community members on the online platform, we can do that as well. So you'll be hearing more information about that coming up soon. And then, of course, we do communities of practice. So I have one listed here because that was one that we already knew that we would do for you all, which is the state and community of practice, where we would focus solely on increasing collaborations between community and state. And that one is launching in October, so you'll get more information about that. The reason why I don't have others listed, because we want to know what your needs are. We don't want to overly dictate what we think that you all should be focusing on or practicing or what have you. We'll definitely do a friendly nudge from time to time. But we also just want to make sure that we give you time to breathe, to get in, to get oriented, to really get to know what your needs are. And then once we start hearing those trending topics, once they start bubbling up to the top, we can do some communities of practice just for you around those topics. So just know that is an option. And then, of course, we do webinars. We do national webinars that are just, the purpose is to raise the awareness of prenatal to 3, this age group. And so they're for anybody out there in the early childhood space, or might not even be in the early childhood space, but anybody who wants to learn more about prenatal to 3. And then we have the topical ones. And the topical ones are normally more for grantees. They're normally limited to grantees. So it's another way for us to really meet you all's needs as a group when we see those trending topics rise up. Okay, and I think this is my last slide, or yeah, I think so. But I definitely wanted to make sure I mentioned our upcoming, so we normally do annual PCI all grantees meeting. And we normally do it in person. And it's normally around, so one thing we did get to do this year, and that we did get to keep the same, was that it's in September. So we're still gonna have the convening in September. Hopefully you all should have gotten notice about this. I know some of you have already registered, so that's great. So it will be the 22nd through the 24th. And sign up for it is currently open. It's currently open, and it closes on September the 9th. And one thing that is really unique about this experience is that it's designed for teams and not necessarily individuals. So I say that with just the two options that we have. So we have one-on-one consultations. So those one-on-one consultations will be with the subject matter expert, and it's not just for one person, it's for the entire coalition. And so your whole coalition, or as big or as small, can come and talk to one expert around, let's say, for instance, Medicaid, or whatever the other topics that are there. So that's for the one-on-one consultations. And then the peer-to-peer learning sessions, they are also, this will be a chance for you all to actually to mingle with some of the state grantees, because we're opening up the peer-to-peer learning sessions to states and community grantees for you all to learn together. So that's another opportunity. Now, one of the things I will share, since it is a lot of you that are actually in a funded PCI state, that check in with your state, because we have a lot of states that have already registered as well. So check in with them to see, you know, what they may have registered for, and if you all would want to actually be together doing a consultation. You don't have to, but it is, I think it's just, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention that you definitely have the option to go in with your state around the one-on-one consultations. But if you feel like there are some issues or some challenges that you're having that is independent of your state, you're more than welcome to sign up as a community. I think that's all for me, but are there any questions?
Hey, Tierney, it's Kathy. Maybe it's more of a comment than a question. When you do the communities of practice, will that be open to, so let's say that it's a topic, and it doesn't have to be the lead, the grantee contact, but it could be somebody that's part of the community team that can join the community of practice.
Thank you, Kathy, for saying that. Yes, that's exactly right. It's none of this. So I don't want you as a grantee to feel like anything we put out, you have to do everything. No, we're putting this stuff out so that you can choose the best person from your coalition to benefit. So it doesn't have to be, we don't want to overburden one person or one organization, not at all. So we've asked you to build these coalitions for a reason. And that reason is that we understand you can't do it alone, nor should you. So when we're putting out these different vehicles of support for you all, please do not feel like you have to be the only one to take advantage of it. Please sign up the person that makes the most sense. So thank you so much for Kathy for bringing that one up. Gretchen.
All right, if there aren't any other questions, I'll talk a little bit about the fellowship. And I want to say welcome to those of you who are on the call, Lindsay, Allison, Kenny, and Stephanie. You guys, I'm really excited. Lindsay's the only person I've actually had a conversation with so far, but you'll be getting an email from me with a little bit more specifics in the coming days. So just want to welcome everybody. I feel like this fellowship is a particularly unique opportunity where it's really job embedded. And our goal, I'll go through just a few slides. I'm trying to advance the slides here. We'll see what's happening. I'm not effectively advancing the slides, Judy. Can you just advance it? I'll let go of control. Thanks, for some reason it's not working. But it's only a couple slides, so. You got it now? Tierney, are you there? Where did she go? Well, the fellowship, Tierney, if you could try to catch me up with the slides, I appreciate it.
I'm here.
Yeah, for some reason I couldn't get control, so I gave control back to you. There's only a handful of slides, so it's not a big deal, but if you could just get us to the, you shared it again.
Do you have it? No.
Oh, wait, I think I am controlling it now. There's just a tremendous delay.
Yeah, because I'm not controlling.
Okay, now we got it. We got it. Thank you, guys. And I'm just going to leave it in this view because for some reason the arrows aren't working, but the bar on the side is. So the role of the fellows here, you know, this is from the grantee application, so it's something you guys probably have all read, but the primary purpose of the fellowship is to support the individuals, yourselves, who are doing this work of enacting this prenatal to 3 plan. So, you guys are the staff, trying to make this happen. The goals that we have for the fellows in this bigger picture way is to, whoops, I'm sorry, this is a really hinky control situation. I'm not sure why it's giving me this view. There, okay. Is to provide, some of you already mentioned, looking forward to the tools and resources to help support not only the racial equity work, but all of the work, but racial equity is one of the things we will definitely talk about and focus on. And we've also already mentioned this state and local collaboration and increasing the communication interaction, because we also are really aware that states often control a lot of the funding mechanisms, but communities where the implementation happens. We also will talk a lot about the value of including families and providers in the planning and implementation of the work, and I know that was an issue I already heard had come up. Increasing the knowledge and support around policies, all of the things, the strategies of financing and service delivery, and then your personal leadership capacity. And this is the part that I'm sort of most excited about, because one of the differences here, we're hoping to support, sorry, I'm also trying to advance the slide here. The core competencies. Okay, so yeah, one of the things we're hoping in the fellowship is to focus on. This is a little bit more focused look at the fellowship sort of core competency goals, is advancing equity and using data to do so, and the power of listening, which is specifically to families and providers, people who care for children directly, and understanding the systems, the larger, both at the community level and the state level, and somewhat the national, and understanding the value of and work in the strategies for working with state leaders directly. The role of the fellows, you're going to be participating in monthly calls and a lot of the things that Tierney just mentioned, the relevant communities of practice and learning tables. We'll also have quarterly learning opportunities that are just for fellows. We'll have monthly meetings with just the fellows, and then quarterly opportunities where there'll be more content. We'll be working, with listening to you, figuring out what you need to enact your plan, and then as a fellowship manager, I'm also going to help you document and all the stuff that you accomplish over the 3 years. I'm personally very thrilled that this is a 3-year fellowship, because we really get to work together for a long time. It's not just a quick 1 year and done kind of thing. So the role, sorry, trying to click the next slide. The sharing remote access thing is a little hinky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Can't seem to control why. Well, the real thing, I don't know why I've lost control again, Tierney, so I'm just going to hand control back. There's only 1 or 2 more slides, so it's not a big deal, but if you could advance it to the next one. The big main difference, I think, between the hub leads, the people who are going to help the fellows and the whole coalition advance the prenatal to 3, that's sort of the role of the hub lead, and my role as the hub fellowship manager is I'm more of your personal coach. I'm more of I'm going to be able to help you figure out, where you feel stuck in your own facilitation style, or if you're feeling like, you're having problems with getting your coalition to listen, I can help brainstorm strategies with you, things like that. So I'm more in the lane of your personal support as the fellow. And then also, I will also work with and can be on meetings with the hub lead if needed, as needed. We can sort of figure out what works best in terms of how often we talk. Like I said, we've got 3 years to work on this together, so it's not like we have to figure it all out right in the very beginning. But the idea is we will have quarterly leadership retreats, and first we will be doing them virtually, which is never ideal, but it is at least what we can do right now. And I will be sending you an email this week to just hold a couple dates. So we have some dates held for the fellows. Typically, we're going to look at the third week of the month for fellowship activities, just to kind of keep a little bit of a routine to it, because there's a lot of scheduling, as you'll see with a lot of this stuff. But I think that is sort of the big picture of the fellowship. Our role. Tina, if you could advance the slides to the part where we have the dates. The last slide has the dates on it but this is also the same information that I'll put in an email to you, hopefully later today. So are there any questions about the fellowship here? I'm looking at the chat to see. Yeah, if there are any questions. I don't see any questions in the chat box or anything. The fellowship, I will be your main person to talk to about the fellowship and to coordinate with you. I also do want to make your meetings when possible, if you want to just include me on meetings rather than having separate meetings with me, I'll be very flexible and amenable to that, especially as we're all starting to get to know each other. For example, if you're going to set up a meeting with Ngazi as your hub lead, and if you want me to sit in on it too, I'm completely willing and open to doing so. But also, I don't want to create more of a scheduling nightmare. I am on the West Coast. I am in San Francisco. So I recognize that working with that time zone can be a little bit hinky sometimes. So I'm open and flexible. Tierney, I think you have the control of the screen now.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and exit out the screen.
Thanks.
And I'll share mine. Perfect.
Thanks, Chloe.
Yeah, no problem.
Were there any questions about the fellowship? And I apologize for the date, it's not showing up, but I will send an email. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you guys. I've been a fellow myself in another context, and sort of understand the amount of support and what can be gained from it. And I'm especially excited that it's 3 years. It's not a quick commitment. It's a deep commitment of time. So yay, excited to work with you. Thanks.
So good afternoon, PN3 community leaders. Again, my name is Chloe Jordan, the Learning Community Manager of the NCIT Capacity Building Hub. And today I'll be sharing out more information about the NCIT Hub communication support and opportunities to engage. I will be sharing actually on behalf of our Communication Director, Mariana Floret, while she is on leave this week, but she does look forward to supporting you all in the upcoming grant year. As a part of the peer sharing and learning peer-to-peer session offering scheduled at the end of this month, we wanted to highlight the peer-to-peer session called Storytelling that will be taking place on September 24th, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern. This option is available in the recent survey shared with everyone to complete by September 9th. So we just wanted to make you guys aware as a friendly reminder nudge. In brief, during this interactive session, attendees will learn how to tell a personal story about their efforts and progress in targeting inequities in their state. Participants will work with cross-state teams to develop an initial draft of their story and receive feedback from their peers. You can still participate even if you do not anticipate submitting a request to participate in the continued coaching. So they're not mutually exclusive, and we just wanted to, meaning my communication director, wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that just because you participate doesn't mean that you anticipate getting continued coaching, but we strongly recommend if you just want it to receive coaching at a glance. But great news, if you do want continued coaching, here on the right-hand side of your screen that you can see, we will be extending the invitation to interested leaders who would like to further participate in a tailored coaching experience that is geared towards individual and state team and community storytelling skill development. More information will be given at the conclusion of the September workshop. We do intend to send invitations with further details that will be shared by email during the first week of October. And we also wanted to note that we'll provide our communications director's email address and we'll make that available. So if you do have further questions, she'll be more than happy to answer those. We also want to introduce to you all the NCIT Monthly Digest, which is very exciting, which is distributed monthly and captures the following highlights listed here to keep both communities and states informed of what your peers are doing and opportunities to engage in learning events such as webinars or virtual convenings that are happening, such as in September. So listed here, starting with state and community spotlights, this newsletter portion is an opportunity for coalitions to share what they are already doing to achieve their PN3 goals, and for your peers to share in the learning of what are identified challenges and stakeholders that are unique to moving their PN3 work forward. If there are resources or job opportunities, we just wanted to also mention to everyone that you would like to include, we encourage you to email us, meaning the communications director, and we advise no later than the 10th of each month. In addition to not only the opportunity as stated number 2 and 3, where we'll have learning opportunities and resources listed, we also are requesting if there are career opportunities that arise, we would love to hear about those and include those also within our digest to share abroad. We also wanted to mention that if you wanted to possibly have a spotlight in the digest that shares further about your community journey and what are actionable steps that you're taking to allow for the work to keep going, that you would love to share with the broader community, we encourage you to also email us with those suggestions, and we would love to set up a time to interview. And last, there are 2 different web properties that we wanted to share with you. One is the NCIT website at thencit.org, and the second is the NCIT landing page on the Build website. With that being said, the ncit.org is aimed at, like it's like stated here, it's a broad resource for policymakers at the community, state, and national level. And versus the NCIT landing page, which on the Build website, which specifically is a page that's reflective of what is produced from communities and states and is tailored specifically for our grantees to share in the resources that they are either producing or are tailored by TA specific resources that have been flagged as helpful in moving your PN3 work forward. And on behalf of Mariana and myself, we are definitely looking forward to supporting you and your teams on the incredible work ahead. And note it that our website will be undergoing some changes, our Build website, but we will be posting learning session materials, including this webinar presentation and recording on our websites, so be on the lookout for that as well. And now I'd like to introduce our friendly partners at Child Trends.
Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. My name is Zolene Hill. I am a research scientist at Child Trends. So far, you've heard a lot about the different types of support that's available to your communities, and I'd like to share with you the ways that Child Trends will be able to support your work with infants, toddlers, and their families. So Child Trends is partnering with Build to support your data and measurement needs throughout the grant period. Child Trends staff have expertise in early childhood systems, programs, and policies, as well as in data systems, data collection, tracking of indicators over time, early childhood measurement, and using data and research to advance equity. So on this webinar, we're going to share specific examples of the support that we can provide and the common challenges that we can help you with, and how we can help you in pushing boundaries to advance and measure equity. So first, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about who we are. The Child Trends has a staff of about 200 members, and we have offices in Boston, Bethesda, Chapel Hill, and Minneapolis, all of which we are not using right now, and all of our staff are currently doing remote or telework. Through our work, we've developed relationships with a variety of states, conducting research, evaluation, and technical assistance to help them promote outcomes for low-income and otherwise marginalized children, youth, and families. The Child Trends website has several publicly available resources that may be helpful to you in your work, in addition to the resources that are posted on the ncit.org website. At Child Trends, our mission is to promote the well-being of children, youth, and families. And generally speaking, if it affects children and youth, we study it. The experts that we have on this project are drawn mostly from our early childhood research team, and we're also engaging with Child Trend staff who are experts in child welfare system, racial equity, and poverty and inequality. So here are the members of our team. We're experts in several areas of PN3 initiative building, data and measurement, racial equity, ECE programs and policies, and translational research. Our first and main objective is to help you build your state's data capacity to equitably promote positive outcomes for infants, toddlers, and their families. And we will be working with you and in close coordination with Build and your hub lead. So we're excited to help support you in the great work that you're doing to support infants, toddlers, and their families. And so next I'm going to provide specific information on how we can support you. So let's see. Oh.
Having discrepancy. Let me see.
Yeah, the slide isn't advancing.
Okay. I'll assist. Next slide.
Next slide. You know, I think it's because it has animation. So if you could just push twice more, 1, 2. Okay, and that's the full slide. Note to self, no animation. So when it comes to, thank you. Thank you, Chloe. When it comes to accessing and organizing the data that you need, we have a broad menu of options for support, including helping you to establish and review your baseline numbers. And with that, we can help with setting standards, setting targets during COVID, and finding proxy measures, or help you identify publicly available data sources for indicators if your state does not collect these data. We can also help you in building relationships, identifying connections for data requests, and developing data sharing agreements. A third area of data capacity that we support is in disaggregating data by race and ethnicity. Together, we can work to understand the challenges that you're experiencing disaggregating by race and ethnicity, and how we can overcome barriers to get you the data that you need. And our team is ready to share expertise on many topics, but if we're not able to support you on your specific question, we would like to help connect you with experts through Build or other states and communities through the communities of practice led by Build. And these topics include Medicaid data, child welfare programs and data, early care and education topics including QRIS, child care subsidies and workforce data, home visiting programs and data, integrated data systems, and other federally connected program participation data such as WIC, SNAP, and TANF. And finally, we're able to help you with messaging beyond reporting by assisting you in interpreting findings and using data as a starting point to examine the root causes for disparities. So this assistance will be provided during kickoff calls, which we will be reaching out to you to schedule shortly. And additionally, we will be able to provide one-on-one assistance when requested. In addition to assisting you with data capacity, our team is also here to support communities in examining equitable access to programs and services. So in this work, Child Trends has been a leader in the field, helping to clarify and define how policymakers, state administrators, community leaders, and researchers discuss and understand equitable access to early childhood programs and services. In this definition, we use a family-based approach to thinking about access, and we identify 4 dimensions of what it means for a program or a service to be accessible to families. The first dimension is reasonable effort. Here we examine what does it take for a family to learn about, connect with, and when relevant, repeatedly use a service. The second dimension is affordability. And here we look at what does it cost for a family to use a service. And program costs aren't just the program fees. They include things like transportation costs or times that parents have to take off from work. A third dimension of accessibility is how a program might meet parents' needs. And we know that parents have a variety of personal, cultural, and professional needs that programs and services need to accommodate. These include things like work or other schedules, their language needs, any sort of transportation needs. And finally, the fourth dimension of accessibility is is looking at how the program or service supports child development. And children have a variety of needs, and a program that meets the distinct needs of one child may not meet the distinct needs of another. So with supporting child's development, we ask, is the service sufficiently tailored, or is it differentiated enough to meet the needs of diverse children who come through the door? So as I described, the Access framework is a family-based approach to thinking about access. So knowledge about who your families are is paramount to be able to do this work. And when we're thinking about who your families are, we know that race and ethnicity are a focus of this work. And it's also important to understand how race and ethnicity intersect with a variety of other identities that may impact who parents are and how they're able to access programs. And this is information that you may already know informally through your close work in your communities, or may be information that you collect through more formal or systematic measures. And so we will work with a small cohort of states and communities who are interested in doing this work of thinking about who their families are and how to make sure that programs and services are accessible along the 4 dimensions of accessibility. We will provide support that is specific and tailored to your needs. For example, you may want to look at a specific program, or you may be interested in taking a larger system levels approach. Or you may want to examine an existing program or look at a program or something that you're interested in launching, and this is something that we can help you think through. And we will help you explore the dimensions of access in these programs with the goal of helping you to co-develop an action plan around equitable access that is tailored to your specific needs. So we will be reaching out, as I mentioned before, we'll be reaching out with you to schedule kickoff calls. And during these calls, our goal is to get to know you, get to learn more about the goals that you have for your communities, learn about how we can provide data capacity support, and learn if you would like to join the small cohort of states and communities to whom we'll be providing this additional support assessing equitable access. So this is the end of my presentation. Feel free to reach out to us directly, or we will be reaching out to you to schedule our kickoff calls. I'm going to hand it back to Tierney.
Yes. So we're going to start recording now. So feel free to turn back on your videos